What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lock Up Talk. If I could get you to please comment, like, subscribe. If you would, hit that bell so you're notified first for when I drop a new video. I'd appreciate it. I appreciate to everybody that is already following, everybody that's showing love. I appreciate all of you, man. I wouldn't be able to do this without y'all, man. If I don't have nobody to view it, then why would I do it? I guess I'd be talking to myself, but basically I am anyway. That's what us convicts do, I guess, right? Anyway, we're gonna get into what I brought up. I brought this up on my last video, Missouri gangbanging. We're gonna get into the gangbanging culture in the Missouri Department of Corrections, the violence that comes behind it, guys that I had met and grown close to, and basically watched violence happen behind that. Got involved in shit, just not realizing, hey, because I'm guilty by association, really. Not realizing, hey, you are guilty by association. You hang out with these people just like it would be out here on the streets. The police, if you hang out with a certain group of people, they're gonna view you, basically, you're looked at by the company you keep, basically. So, and then I'm gonna get into the younger guys that felt the need to join a gang, whether it be they felt the need of like a family type brotherhood, just like being in prison. You know, you're lonely, you don't have nobody. They wanted to be wanted, and then some of them in turn found out that, hey, my heart pumps Kool-Aid and I am not about that, and I fucked up and now I'm gonna pay for the repercussions. So anyway, the first rundown I'm gonna give y'all is gonna be on the gangs. Obviously, we're gonna start with the white gangs, and then we'll move over to the, the basic gangs that we have in Missouri, the blacks, the SAs, all of that. But first, we're gonna start with the white gangs. So first and foremost, the white gangs, the top of the food chain, in my opinion. No disrespect, and I want to say this first and foremost right now. No disrespect to any gang member out there. You do what you do. That's cool, man. I do what I do. I'm just trying to really stay out of trouble and go to work. That's all I'm trying to do, and make videos. So my opinion is my opinion, your opinion is your opinion, and no disrespect to any gang members. I respect it for what it is. So anyway, at the top of the food chain sets family values. That's my opinion. They are a white gang, but they're not like racially, I guess you could say racially oriented. They're not racially dominant. They are all white, and there are, in every crop, there's that one, the races, the Bolts, the Swazis, all that, and there are some of those guys, and it is viewed like that. You're not going to be able to join if you're black. But then there are, most of them, they're not racist, and they don't move like that. They don't move racially. They don't act like that. They're not on that white power. None of that typical shit, that you would usually see from a white guy in a Missouri gang or a prison gang in general. So, yeah, they're not really racially oriented. They thrive in the level 5s where I started off in Crossroads. That's where I'm going to get into this story in a little bit. They thrive mostly in the level 5s just because they're mostly really violent and they're really putting in work, and really the staff is on them. You know what I mean? Investigations, whatever, they're getting locked up for all of that. And they're usually in the hole in the level 5s. But right now, we're going to switch to another gang, which is, I've heard, I communicate with guys in prison. One of my friends that I communicate with, he was actually a part of this gang I'm about to mention, and is now a family values high-ranking member. I speak with him on the phone almost every day. Later on, I'm going to get him interviewed, and we're going to get him on the channel, and we're going to see about doing videograms and all that, as well as another friend I had, a black guy, Baby G. He goes by BG, who is a GD, who is now a Muslim, who has been in prison for 30 years. He just got his date, 2025, so that's exciting news for him. We're going to get him on the channel, going to go over everything he's seen during his bid, the violence, and he as Harvey Talks Prison would know, I'm going to shout out to Harvey Talks Prison. Baby G started his sentence when prison was real. Like, they were killing people like they would go take a piss, like a normal event, whatever. that was a normal day, you know, getting killed, whatever, or stabbing somebody. We're going to get him on the phone. We're going to get a videogram with him. He just got his date after 30 years of being incarcerated. He's caught one stabbing that he would have been out by now, but he caught another 10 years, almost killed this guy over a poker game, stabbed him. And that is what Baby G is known for, stabbing people. He won't fight. I mean, he'll call you in the cell and fight you, but he's going to stab you. Everybody knows he has a knife, so nobody really fucks with him. He runs the poker table. He does his thing, you know. And he's laying back as a Muslim now, says he found brothers in there and got really into the whole Muslim religion. We're going to get into all of that, and we're going to go over some stuff with him as well. But now to this other white gang. Southwest Honkies. They are derivative out of Springfield, Missouri. They are of medium size as far as like whenever. See, I've been out for about going on 4 years. So when I was in there, they were growing. They were big. Certain prisons, of course, you know. But it is apparent right now. I've heard they're at war with family values, and family values is real dominant. They're real deep. They're real thick. And even at lower levels, you know, they're all over. And no disrespect to no gang member on what I'm about to say, that is a family values member or any member, but when you're in a level 5, it is much different than getting your patch in a lower level. Your patch being your tattoo that affiliates you with your gang, your ink, or whatever it may be. You're really putting in that work for a long time. You're really putting in a lot of work for a long time. You're doing long hole stretches. You're going through crazy shit, and they're not going to let up for about a year, and then you'll be able to lay back once they realize you were one of them, you know. But until then, you're going to run through it. In the lower levels, it's a bit easier to become a gang member. You don't have as many, I guess, trials. I mean, you go on missions and crash out and this, that, and the other, but it is not like it is in level 5, and we'll get into that more, seeing the differences in that. But anyway, yeah, so Southwest, they're apparent to be at war with family values, and we're not going to get into that. I'm not going to speak on none of that, but that is just word. This is the other gang, Southwest. They are from like I just said, they're from Springfield, Missouri, and that right now, basically, that is the only 2 white dominant gangs in Missouri. I mean, they have the Joplin Honkies, which Southwest, they branched off of them. So Joplin Honkies is an old gang from Joplin, Missouri that ran. I know a lot of their old members, and they were hitters, but like now the newer, no disrespect to anybody, the newer, like their books are really supposed to be closed, but then you have them ones that pick it up and open it up and do stuff they're not supposed to and get in trouble and letting people come in that are not supposed to be a part of it, making them look bad and all that. So they're few to many. I don't really know of many active Joplin Honkies anymore. Apparently family values, like I said, is taking out all of them. They took out, they did have SSGs, the Sacred Separatist group. They was a racial gang. They were deep, they were thick, man. Around the first time I got the camera right, when I leveled down from Crossroads, level 5, and there was a war. As soon as I got there, like right when I got to this medium camp, there was a war on the yard between them and family values, and family values smashed them all out. And some Southwest members also helped, you know, poke some of them up, beat some of them up, this, whatever, caught them by the behind the handball court or behind the gym on the track, whatever, and they dish-racked them boys. They did them dirty and sent them up out the camp and covered them all up. There's no really more of them that I know of. I mean, if they are, they're in the hole, or ones that, the very few that may be standing on their patch are in the hole for standing on their patch or whatever, or they're out. They're not really doing anything in Missouri. They're not family values. Like I said, they're taking over. So anyway, then the Peckerwoods, family values took them out, and it just goes on down the line. Like I said, that is why, in my opinion, family values is the most dominant in Missouri prisons on the white side. Then on the black side and the Chico side, like you have the normal Serenos. On the black side, you have the normal Crip. The Crips were kind of like family values for their race. They were the big dominant. The Crips were in Missouri. They were bigger. Then you'd have some Bloods, you know, some GDs. There were some GDs. the Muslims were real thick. They were the only ones that rivaled the Crips, but they claimed to not be a gang, but they protect each other and move like they are a gang, and they are very dominant, very pick up a knife real quick, very stab you real quick. Like I said, the guy that taught me my sign language and everything while I was in the level 5 solitary program was a Muslim that was deaf and wanted to talk to his other Muslim brothers, and his other Muslim brothers that was on the walk with him, they were down there for stabbing this guy that was cellies with another one of their Muslim brothers. It was his cellie, and he claimed that the other Muslim brother that was cellies with this guy claimed that he was being raped by this guy. So these 2-3, and you can look all this is also, I'll pull this up later. The video, all of it is also online. You can look it up on Crossroads Correctional Center stabbings. Just Google anything like that, Missouri Crossroads Correctional Center, Missouri stabbings, whatever. Muhammad, he taught me sign language, and they were in the hole, all of them were in the hole together on the same walk for stabbing this guy that their brother claimed to be getting raped by. They stabbed him to death. One of them went in his cell at first, hid when they came back from breakfast, and when he came in, started fighting with him, and he started getting the better of him, and Mohammed, the one that taught me sign language, ran up on him with his blade and got him, stabbed him, and it was really bad. They said slit the dude's throat, all kinds of, like, they massacred him. It was a very bad deal. But anyways, there's a man that taught me my sign language. So like I said, the level 5s are very violent, and they're very different when it comes to gang banging and like the levels to this shit, if that makes sense. But anyway, that's the rundown on the gangs. Like like I said, the blacks, they got the Muslims. They don't really classify themselves as a gang, but they sure do move like one, and they are dominant. And then with the essays, you got the Serenos, so on and so forth. But the story I'm gonna get into right quick is gonna be part 1. Lil Ant. Lil Ant was a young dude that I met in Crossroads when I'd been out of solitary confinement. I did my 10-month stretch down in Crazy Town in one house in Crossroads. I did 10 months there, and I got out on the yard because there was a riot on the yard, and the hole was filled up and there was an overflow. So the review committee come through, and everybody that hadn't been getting in trouble, man, they came through, looked at everybody, and I was really trying to get out of the hole at this point. Like, man, let me out. I got to get out of here. I was done, man. Like, don't get me wrong, we're going to get into the mind, the heart, and all that, and being able to control all that in situations like that. And at first, when you're not in that mind frame, how your mind will take over on its own, and eventually you will progress into what your surroundings, and you will, as far as I speak for myself, I was okay. You know, at first, I was very depressed being in the solitary confinement, locked down all the time, in trouble, you know, knowing I wasn't going to get out of here forever, couldn't call my family, only got letters and stuff like that, you know, couldn't do nothing. I was very depressed. I slept a lot, and then one day my mind, you know, we'll get into all that later. Yeah, workout routines, the books, all that, mind control. But anyway, right now, like I said, that's who taught me my sign language. We're going to get into Lil Ant. I'm going further off. Let me get back on track. Lil Ant. I met Lil Ant. I come out of one house the hole. I've been out for about a month. I'd say 3 weeks to a month I've been out the hole. And Lil Ant comes in with another family values member. And Lil Ant's on prospect status. And he's a young kid, man. He's like, he couldn't be no taller than 5 foot tall. Maybe 5'2", 5'3", little old dude. But he kind of stocky. But he was a kid, man, you know. And you could see it all over him. He was a kid. But he was a young kid, and coming into prison, man, lost, feeling like he needed to be a part of something. He needed to be, like, he needed family in prison. It's sad being in there, you know. Some, man, these guys, you go through it, man, and it'll get you in trouble if you're not careful. And Lil Ant clicked up. Lil Ant got put on in a level 5 where they really run down on you. They make sure you're gangbanger. They make sure you're a gangbanger. You know, it's hot out here. I apologize, y'all. But they make sure you're a gangbanger in them level 5s before they put a patch on you. And here come 18, 19, 20, no older than 20. Lil Ant with this family values member. He's probably about 30 years, probably about, at the time, older. At the time, he's my age now, 30. So they come in together. And my cellie at the time was a gang member of Southwest Corps. He was a Southwest honky. God bless his soul. He passed away We'll get into that later too. But yeah, he was Southwest honky, and he sold shots of coffee, stamps, pre-rolled cigarettes back before Missouri took the tobacco out. And I'll get into that later too. I was in prison when they took the tobacco out, and people thought it was going to cause a big deal. We'll get into all that later. But anyway, I'm selling with this other gang member who does all this story, sells these shots and this, that, and the other. And the Family Values cat and little Ant, the prospect, comes down there. They get their coffee, they get their stamp, or they pay with their stamps. They get their coffee, their cigarette, their tobacco for the night, and maybe a couple little soups, whatever. I can't exactly remember. This has been years ago, but they got their little shit for the night. And what they don't know, I'm talking to Corey about as they leave, because I'm just finding out little Ant and this Family Values cat just got out the hole, is what they don't realize. About a week and a half, 2 weeks prior to this, a guy named TG that was a GD that converted to being a Muslim got out the hole. Are you kidding me? What's going on, everybody? All right, we're gonna get back into this video. I don't know what happened. It's hot out here. I think my phone overheated, whatever. We're gonna try to wrap it up. Part one, little Ant. Yeah, so little Ant comes in. This guy TG, who was a GD Muslim, just got out the hole too, like a week prior to little Ant and the Family Values cat getting out. And while I was in one house with TG in the hole down there, and they would have what they called, they couldn't do nothing else, so they would have door wars, where they get on the door and bark at each other and talk shit and say some really vile shit to each other in the vent. And it drove me crazy, man. This is another part of mind control I had to get into with you. Like, we had metal sinks, and they would beat on the bottom of it in the vent, and it would keep you up all night. You could not go to sleep. And it to the point to where you would have to get on the same pattern with this other man acting crazy, you know. That way you could just go to bed and it still wouldn't pan out for you, because there'd be other guys doing it too. They're beating on their shit and being loud. But anyway, TG went at it with Family Values real hard and said some really, that back and forth they was saying some really dirty and derogatory shit. And yeah, they said some shit you don't come back from, you know what I mean, on the door on each other. And they'd be keeping, it was mainly TG, because Family Values, really, they viewed TG as a check-in kind, even though he was a GD and he was known for stabbing people and fighting, he was. But while he was down there, he was just so wild and getting in trouble and talking shit and doing all this, that, and the other, and catching violations, that he stayed down there until one day, eventually he got out though, you know, and everybody was surprised, like, damn. So anyway, TG gets out the hole, man, and here comes little Ant and this Family Values cat, and I'm telling my silly Corey this, Southwest Corey, and I'm like, man, shit's about to pop off. Corey's like, nah, I don't think so. They would have brought it up, this, that, and the other, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, nah, man, like, you don't understand. Maybe they don't know this, that, and the other, right? But shit is gonna happen. I heard what was said down there in the hole. You don't come back from a lot of it. Like, some shit's gonna happen. So Corey's like, yeah, I don't think so, but maybe, whatever. He don't know. He wasn't in the hole with me, you know what I mean, for as long as I was with TG and these fam cats. So we go to dinner that night. Already, word is shot. They know TG's there, of course. The two have already seen TG in there, done heard about it, and they've been pulled up on Corey and let Corey know. And I told Corey later, you know, I told you, da-da-da-da. But, yeah, they pulled up on Corey and said, hey, we got a problem. I just got word from the other side of the camp. The other bros that were going to chow, you know, shot word over here and was like, TG's in there, we need to handle that, blah, 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 meeting when yard crack tomorrow. So the next day, morning yard cracks, everybody hits the yard, and everybody's formed up on the yard. Boom, boom, you can see them all. Family Values are deep over here. The GDs are deep, everybody. And gangs that aren't even involved in prison, you can feel it. As soon as you step on the yard, it's like tension, bad, and you can feel it in your stomach. You can feel everything. You can just sense it. And everybody's grouped up. All the gangs are grouped up. Every one of them. It's like military time. Some shit's gonna crack. Some shit's gonna crack. Even if they're not involved, they're on alert for their people. So everybody's grouped up. Morning wreck. Fam has a little meeting in the gym with the head of the Muslims and the head of the GDs, because, you know, TG was claiming GD whenever he was talking all this shit and whenever he was going on these fam cats, and now he's, you know, there's more Muslims where he's at, and I'm not sure, I'm not speaking on that, but he wanted to be a Muslim, this, that, and the other, and have Muslim bros in the wing and shit. So he becomes Muslim, they have their meeting in the gym, and next thing I know, when we come back from rec, everything seems to be cool, man. They word comes back that they got a truce and they're just gonna squash it. They don't want no issues, this, that, and the other, right? Which is crazy to me. I'm like, what? After hearing everything I heard in the hole between these guys, man, what? You know, they blew my mind. I told Corey that. So we come back from rec. We go to lunch. Everything's cool at lunch. We have grilled cheese. I remember what we had that day. We didn't miss out on the grilled cheese. Never miss out on a lunch. We always move out on the yard whenever we go. We go. We're going to go get that. We're trying to get out the cell and not be locked down. You know what I mean? So we go get our grilled cheese that day. Everything's cool, man. The fam cat, I'm not going to be naming names. The fam cat, and I'm going to be naming some when it's cool, but, you know, I'm not going to be naming names. So, except for nicknames. So, Lil Ant and fam cat, they all go to chow. Everything's cool, you know. My celly's talking to him because he's part of that gang-banging lifestyle. You know, he's cool. He's my homie. And I kind of fuck with all of them because of it. And guilty by association, that's where that comes in later. So everything seems cool, but these fam cats, they're letting Corey know, you know, I'm not talking to him. I'm not a patch member, you know what I mean? So they're more so talking to Corey because he's a patch member and shit, you know. He has to get in there, really has to get in there, or they could take his patch if some shit happens. And Corey's basically letting me know when we get back to the cell, shit's not cool. There ain't no telling what's going to happen, but I'm not sure if the fam cats really gave them their word as like a war tactic to let them think that everything was cool or what, or if the fam cats just was like, nah, hell with what our bro said, we'll take what the responsibility later. This one fam cat anyway, not the prospect. We'll take whatever, and the prospect just rode with him. So we'll take Lil Ant just rode with him. We'll take whatever repercussions when we get out the hole. We're not gonna let what dude said about our gang, about our bros slide. And they decided to go ahead and ride down on TG, no matter who was backing him. So we go to dinner, man, and they both come out. They kind of link up with Corey. I'm going to dinner. I can't remember what we had that night at dinner, but it's dark. We're on our way to dinner. And from the other side of the camp, a bunch of them, Family Values cats on the other side with, there was only one or two Southwest honkies. Like, there wasn't that many in level 5s. There was Stumper on the other side and another Southwest cat, and they were hollering, you know, 42 what, and the fam cats were hollering 622. So maybe they knew what was going on. Maybe they did. It was a tactic to let the GDs, Muslim things, whatever the case was. I don't know. But we go to dinner. Everybody's, you know, throwing their shit, hollering at people. We lock down as controlled movement. You know, we lock down in the chow hall. I'll get in controlled movement later. We lock down in the chow hall. We finish our dinner real fast. And then we get up and go, and we're coming out the chow hall. And immediately, when I'm coming out the chow hall, I'm walking with Corey. I sat at a table. In the level 5s, you basically have an assigned seat in the chow hall because you have lifers in there that have been sitting at certain tables and certain seats for so long, and they will kill you over your seat. You know what I mean? Like, they will. I mean, a lot of them will give you, like, if you're, you know, they will give you, you know, the first chance, hey, man, that's my spot, whatever. You better come back correct. You better be respectful, and you better come back correct, or it's going to be real bad for you, because most every one of them are lifers, and they've been sitting at them tables for 30, 40 years, 20 years, however long. So my assigned seat, of course, with my celly Corey, Southwest Corey, so therefore I'm already drug into the gang bullshit, and I did not realize this excuse me, I need a drink. Being early in my bid, you know, I didn't really realize guilty by association, or maybe I wouldn't even been in trouble, you know, I'm young. So I'm sitting at the table with Southwest Corey and another dude that had been at the table for a long time. The other fam cats, they can't sit with us, of course, because we're in a level 5. We found them another table, you know what I mean, where they could be, because it's all assigned. So it don't matter who you are, it's assigned shit, you know what I mean, because there's guys in there doing life that will stab you, like I said. So they get their seats over by us, though, you know. So everybody's already thinking, like, you know, I don't know whether the GDs and all that, they thought, and the Muslims thought shit was going to go down. I'm sure they did, because the way they come clicked up out of the chow hall, and this is about what we're going to get into. But we sat down, we come up, eat our meal, come up out the chow hall, and they're clicked up. As soon as we come out the chow hall, there's a line of them in front of us. There's like one, and some of them are Crips. Like, they're all riding together no matter what, you know what I mean? It's Crips. When they'll drop any beef like they have, they'll drop that, click up, and they'll ride on anything when it comes to race, just like, I guess, any race will, basically. So there's Crips, GDs, whatever, Muslims, and TGs walking up here, right? Two talking to one of them, and this fam cat, He's walking off in front of us. Ant is right behind him. Me and Corey's walking side by side, and then just some other dudes, some stragglers, whoever. And the fam cat slips up on TG and rocks him, hits him in the jaw, boom, and drops him, right? And it was weird how he dropped him. He like dropped him to his knees, and when he buckled on his knees, he like come to, right? And it's cold outside. We're wearing our jackets, our thick jackets. TG pulls a blade up out of his jacket and starts and he's rocked. So when he comes to, he ain't knowing who he's swinging a blade at. As long as they're white, it might be the guy. You know what I mean? For real, no racial shit, for real. But he's rocked. He just knows a white guy just punched him. He knows what's going on. A family values guy attacked him, and he's trying to get somebody. And I'm walking with Corey. Corey's walking with me, and Ant. They start fighting with the other family values cat, and me and Corey stand our ground. We buck up because we automatically see they're eyeballing us, and TG starts running at us. We got to get out of TG's way. He's trying to stab whoever. Finally starts to come to and sees the fam cat that he's going after, and the craziest shit I ever seen in my life, chased the fam cat all the way to the hole with a blade, chasing him, trying to stab him. The fam cat running, TG's on him, trying to fucking stab him. Excuse my language. Running after him, trying to stab him. They run right to the hole, and as TG about gets to the hole, he turns around. The guards are all over. The chaos is broke loose. The guards are all on it. TG turns around and throws, he just throws it, throws the knife, whatever kind of knife he had, and it went wherever. I don't know if they ever found it, but them two ran right to the hole, man, and they locked him up right there on spot, and shit's popping, now between the Muslims, everybody that is with the Muslims, the blacks, is popping with family values. So now it's on. They done broke their word. Everything's gonna crack on the yard. Now I'm gonna tell you about how little Ant, when we went back to that housing unit, how little Ant went up them stairs, went to his cell that he got out the hole with his family values brother that he was prospecting under. How he went back there knowing that 20 Muslims, 20 GDs, 20 Crits, all of them wanted his head now, and now he had a target on the back of his head, being 20 years old and 5 foot tall little Ant. How he felt going to bed that night. The stuff he Cadillac down, what he talked, anything he said, we're gonna let you know how little Ant felt, and part 2 of what happened the next day and how shit cracked the next day. Stay tuned with me. Like and subscribe. Please hit that bell. Thank y'all.